Hi everyone. This is take two. First take was so technically bad I had to start over again. I've been wanting to do a video about questions my subscribers have asked over the years. I have had a few, just a few, from my more loyal subscribers. One of the ones I get is, how long have you been on YouTube and how did you get started? Well, how I got started, I wouldn't have even had a channel. I knew a little bit about YouTube, but not much. I didn't know you could have a channel just like that. But my little granddaughter, Caitlin, who was only about 7 or 8, really wanted to do videos with me, which was great. Grandma and Caitlin are going to do videos, and she wanted to do baking and crafts and, you know, a few other spontaneous things, little plays, little songs, and we did a whole bunch of them, and it was the funnest time I ever had, certainly on YouTube. It was pure enjoyment. I didn't even know what a view was. I even asked Caitlin, do I have a channel? I thought, I know I can put videos up, but does that mean? She said, yes, Grandma, you have a channel. So she was very patient with me. So we did that for a few years, and then she moved on to other things. By the way, Caitlin is now 22. She's old enough to vote. She's at university, and, you know, time marches on. What's up with the name Ferocious Gumby? Well, I just want to, if I don't knock the bloody tripod over, I can show you what's up with. As you can see, in the middle of the monitor, there's a picture of a very angry looking Gumby. I won't zoom in on it. You can see it. Now the other part of it was that Caitlin at the time was obsessed with Gumby. She was watching she loved old cartoons, old ads, all that kind of thing. She just loved it. And she wanted me to buy her a Gumby. And I went to one of those retro toy stores and got her a Gumby and a Pokey. And she was just really delighted and obsessed with these toys. And so when I was setting up the channel, I thought, I even tried my own name. Nope, it's already taken. Now then, I don't know what it's like now. But if a name was taken, nope, can't do it. Which is probably why people add so many numbers and so on. Back then, when I knew nothing, okay, then I'll call it Gumby something. Gumby, funny Gumby, anything I tried was already taken. But then somehow or other I found the angry Gumby. I thought, okay, angry Gumby. I tried every permutation until Ferocious Gumby. Bing! That was it. People ask me how I got the name, that's it. Now, are you sorry you asked? What's the next one? How has YouTube changed in all that time? Oh, God, don't get me started. Has it ever? It used to be like Facebook and a lot of other things. It was a fun thing. Facebook was so grandmas could put their grandkids' pictures up there. And now we're even afraid to do that. It's now largely money-making. A lot more restrictions. I won't go into all the misadventures I've had with things taken down for no real discernible reason. Well, they always give me reasons. And years ago, I could get a person. I remember messaging with someone on YouTube. And I remember an email from someone. I cannot do that now. You can send feedback, but no, that's the end of it. So if I have problems now, I'm kind of on my own, and I just don't want to be terminated. I haven't yet. But I don't think I've done anything reprehensible. What sorts of problems have you had with YouTube? Right now, we're doing okay. Right now. But I've had to be careful of comments and not say certain words, but they don't tell you which words. Now, I better not say any more, or this will be taken down. How is my health? Well, short version is it's better. I'm still having a lot of tests. My doctor's really thorough, so that's a big part of it. If I have any more lab tests, I'm just going to move right in. I'll bring a sleeping bag and just sleep in the lab. But that's how it goes. They're looking for something they haven't found, and maybe they won't. That's my hope. That's as much as I want to say now. Uh, One of my granddaughters, who's 20, said, "Tell me the story of how you met Papa." That's what they call Grandpa. "How did you meet Papa?" Oh, my Lord. We've been married 52 years. Just that is kind of a little bit of a miracle in today's age. But I was 18 years old. I just moved out of my parents' house. I was going to business school, and then I got a job. I was an office job. I was on my own, and I was a teenage girl. And see, now kids stay home until they're 40, and they live in their mom's basement. And I couldn't wait to get away because it was not a good situation at home. So I got away. I was on my own. I had a little room. This is London, Ontario. Little room in London, Ontario. Didn't even have a bathroom. Had to share. I would meet guys at the park. There was this Victoria Park. I would go there a lot. They had free movies and stuff, and a lot of band concerts. So I go to them. A couple of times I met guys. I always felt like a wallflower that nobody would take an interest in me, but I did. They weren't really dates. I remember talking to one guy. I really liked him. We had a good conversation, and I said something about, "Do you live around here?" And he said, "Yeah, I live with my old man." He meant his dad. Lives with his dad. I thought, "Oh, okay." He said, "I don't really want to live with Dad." "Oh, how come?" "Well, I'm on probation." I go, "Oh, God, probation." I didn't really steal that car. I didn't really sell those drugs. To my credit, I was 18 and I knew enough to go, "Ooh, sorry." I really had to get away from him. And it happened with another guy who was, again, you're strolling through the park. Well, where are you going to meet guys? I don't go to bars. Listening to the music swelling there. So I met another guy. I liked him too. And we walked along, talked about this and that and the other. And then he said something about, "Can I kiss your foot? Can I kiss your foot?" I said, "I don't think so." And then he said something about, "Can I be your slave?" Okay, cut. No. I had to cut that one. So when I met Bill at a train station, there wasn't any of that shit. He was just a nice guy. He was very shy. We were just standing around at the train station. We're going to go home for the holidays. Struck up a conversation and continued it on the train. And we're two introverts together can sometimes turn into two extroverts. They bring it out in each other. And I think that's what happened. And we're just talking. And then we kind of went our own way. I thought, "Oh, I'll never see him again. He was so nice." I remember telling my mother, and she said, "Oh, you never know. You might see him again." I think she was just glad I wasn't hooking up with those weirdos. The next week, we were going home for New Year's. And there he was. He was there again. Standing there by the tracks, just looking real shy and almost stubbing his toe in the ground. And I thought, "Oh, is he going to want to talk to me? What do I do? What do I do?" Took a deep breath. I walked up to him. I said, "Hi, remember me?" His face lit up like a Christmas tree. It's like, see, the music is, yeah, it was like that. So again, we talked on the train. This time, I didn't give him my number. He gave me his number, which I think is kind of interesting. Leaving it in my hands. And just knowing that that's, for the girl, being phone, that's not always a good thing. So I did eventually phone him. It was really strange because our first date he was an engineering student. He was still working on his degree. He hadn't graduated yet. He took me to this bar that the engineering guys went to, and I don't know if you know anything about engineering students, but man, they were pretty wild, but they were very like, "Oh, hey, we like your girlfriend." I remember bringing them home for tea at one point. It was pretty wild, but he turned out not to be wild. He turned out to be a good guy, and even then, at that young an age, I felt like there was something special going on. It continued from there. I was 19 when we married. I had a child at 21 and 23, so I had my kids early. They were 18 months apart, so you can imagine what it was like for me. No experience with kids, nothing. I was raising these two babies back to back, but Bill was a fantastic father. You know, he was great. I could just sort of hand the baby over. And so we've lasted and we've lasted. Now that we're both old, I guess you could say we're old, it's good to have someone that I share that much history with. There's no substitute for that. You know, I've lost a lot of friends to illness and accident, and you can't just run out there and make a new friend that you've known for 30 years. You can't do it. There's something about all that time. And I like to say the rocks in my head fit the holes in his. That's what it is. We get along. Sometimes we have to. You have to have some little, it's usually pretty minor stuff, but do we fight? Not really. We used to have to fight. We had to work out territorial things. So I think we've had most of our main fights. What else does it say here? Where do you get your ideas? I like to say I'd never reveal my sources. I steal some of it. If I see a video that's been out for 15 years and the person hasn't updated for 10, yeah, I can borrow a little snippet of something. That's it. I don't steal. Well, I just said I do. Most of my stuff is just quirky stuff. I try to post stuff I might like to watch myself. And since I'm a boomer, I was always kind of a weird little kid. And I think the weird little kid is still very much alive and well in my brain. So when I was a little kid, I'm sorry about my voice, it's croaking. I remember probably kindergarten. They used to put a big piece of white paper down in front of me, and the teacher would come around and take these liquid paint, different colors, and she'd kind of squirt a little bit out, and they'd say, okay, go to it. And I got to finger painting. I loved it because I could just go crazy, you know. And I think of this as an updated version of finger painting. That's how I think of it anyway. I'd say anything goes, but anything doesn't go. Because I've had stuff taken down that I have no idea why it was objectionable. But I have comments too, you know. Again, even saying this, I'm not sure why it happens. I really don't. Which is my favorite troll doll? I can't even say the word TROLL because YouTube doesn't like the word TROLL. It only means one thing. It has nothing to do with, say, this guy here. Isn't he cute? This guy's adorable. He's a recent addition. If you watch any of my videos, you'll see that I'm pretty obsessed with troll dolls. I'll take a sweeping shot. Let's see. Yeah, there's just a few of them, you see? Just a few. I'm not even going to try to zoom in right now. Yeah, there's a lot more of them. I think you get the idea, though. I think this has gone on long enough, but that never stopped me before. The last question is, what is the meaning of life? Well, you see, the music's getting all serious again. It's perfect, isn't it? There's a movie called The Ruttles, and it's the Beatles turned upside down, and it's the Monty Python, Eric Idle, and it's really funny. And there's a parody of All You Need Is Love. It is, love is the meaning of life. Life is the meaning of love. Love is the meaning of life. Life, that's it. Love is the meaning of life. Life is the meaning of love. that's it. You know, you can talk about religion, and I don't really want to, because it's all you do is get into an argument. When I was in Sunday school as a little kid, we were taught God is love. Now, how much simpler can you keep it than God is love? Where love is, God is. Where God is, love is. Now, I love the God of nature and the universe, but it's so huge, so vast, and it's so complex. Just bird watching alone is so complex. There's so many different species. How do you get hold of that? Well, for me, it's God is love. How could I have survived having 2 kids back to back when I knew nothing about kids? How could I have been married at 19 and still married? It's love. It is. It sounds sappy, but it's not. It is. I just think of Bob Dylan wrote a line, love is all there is. It makes the world go round. No, that's a bit of a cliche. But when Bob Dylan includes a cliche, he makes it work. He flips it upside down a little bit. And he's right about that. He writes about love in many different guises, including spiritually. I'm reading a book about spiritual themes in Bob Dylan, and well, I'll probably do videos just on my relationship with Bob. Bob Dylan is, I believe, 84, and he's still on tour. You talk about your never-ending tour. He's still on that road. So what's my excuse if I get discouraged? You know, there were times in his career he basically had things thrown at him. When he went electric, in other words, he was playing acoustic, all of a sudden he's playing an electric guitar. People throw things at him, then they boo. And he kept on going. Years later, he had his Christian phase, which was pretty extreme. And again, they booed and they threw things. And he kept on going. He wrote some of his best songs in 2020, one of the best albums he's ever recorded when he was coming up to 80 years old. Now, that's not too shabby. He's still writing fresh, original material, and he's still touring. Good grief. The other old guy I think is an inspiration is William Shatner. I've always loved Shatner. I think he's the man. He's the man. 94, and he's hosting a show called The Unexplained. I never miss it. Just the fact that he's still above ground and breathing and able to do a thing like that, I find that inspiring. He's going to go till he drops. And I think Dylan's going to die on stage, and that's what he wants. Wouldn't that be best? Just like, what's his name? Bing Crosby died on the golf course. And everyone went, oh, isn't that tragic? No, really. He loved golfing more than anything else in the world, so one day he just had a heart attack, and poof, that was it. I often think how you die reflects how you've lived. And if you expire while you're doing something you love, then maybe I'll be bird watching. I'll see a species I've never seen before. I'll hear a thrilling song, and then I'll just go like on the trail, and Bill will go, excuse me, Margaret? That's my name, Margaret. And I'll go, I'll clutch a lily to my chest, and that will be it. I have to confess that with a lot of health issues and with the passage of time and losing so many friends to this and that, it becomes a reality. It's like, it's right here. Mortality was maybe a concept. It ain't no concept anymore. It's something that could have happened. When I was in the hospital, it was kind of a close call a couple of times. I could have expired then and there. It's been over a year. I feel a lot better. But I have limitations now, you know. Can't go up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing. I do as much as I can each day. That music is so pretty. Listen to this. I've returned to my music. I get too far away from it at times. And then I return as like a big, circle, an orbit. I'm back with my Beethoven and my Debussy and my, all the composers I love so much. It's profoundly healing. It really is. It has almost magical powers. I'm going to have to turn this up. I want to take it, Debussy. Take it. If we can't really talk about God and be too articulate, it's because words don't suffice. I've dealt in words all my life. I'm a published author several times over. I wrote hundreds of columns, book reviews, newspaper columns, magazine articles, literally hundreds. So words are my stock in trade, but words fail. Words always fall short, which is why I have this magic in my life. I've always had it. And that's what I turn to when I simply can't, when words run out, when there's nothing more to say. We have this, and it's so lovely. I feel most particularly the loss of my former violin teacher. He died in the fall. It was fairly recent. I'd seen him a year before, and his health wasn't good. But it was so good to see him and to give him a sort of final hug. I did get to say a kind of goodbye, although at the time, I just assumed I would see him again. And that was not to be. I don't really know how he died. It was on Facebook, I found out. There really wasn't much. So it was hard to lose him. Probably harder to lose him than anyone else.